Long ago, when the mighty Nile carved its way through the heart of Egypt, and the pharaohs reigned with the power of gods, a remarkable story unfolded, a story that would be told for generations, echoing through time as a testament to faith, courage, and deliverance. The sun was setting over the Midianite desert, casting long, golden shadows across the endless sand dunes. An old shepherd named Elior, weary but content, guided his sheep toward a spring. The air was still, the only sound the soft bleating of the flock. Yet something strange caught Elior's eye, a bush ablaze with fire, yet not consumed. Curious and cautious, Elior approached. As he drew near, a voice thundered from the flames.
Elior, Elior, take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I am the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I have heard the cries of my people enslaved in Egypt. I have chosen you to free them.
Elior trembled.
Why me? How can I face Pharaoh? How can I lead them out of bondage?
I will be with you.
God promised. He gave Elior a special staff, a symbol of divine authority, and a mission that would change the course of history. With heavy steps, but a determined heart, Elior set out for Egypt, accompanied by his brother Micah. The journey was long and arduous, but the call burning in Elior's heart gave him strength. They stood before the grand palace of Pharaoh, its towering pillars a symbol of seemingly unshakable power. Pharaoh, sitting on his golden throne, looked down at the two men with amused curiosity.
Who are you?
Pharaoh asked.
And what do you want?
Elior spoke firmly.
I am Elior. The God of Israel says, let my people go, so that they may worship me in the wilderness.
Pharaoh's laughter echoed through the halls.
Who is this God? Why should I obey him? I do not know him, and I will not let Israel go.
To prove God's power, Elior threw down his staff. It transformed into a slithering serpent before Pharaoh's eyes. The court magicians, not to be outdone, cast their own staffs to the ground, and they too became snakes. But in a stunning display, Elior's snake swallowed all the others. Yet Pharaoh remained unmoved. In fact, he grew harsher, ordering the Israelite slaves to work even harder, driving them deeper into despair. The people cried out to Elior, who in turn cried out to God, wrestling with fear and frustration, but clinging to faith. And so the battle truly began. The first plague, the Nile, turns to blood. At God's command, Elior struck the Nile River with his staff. Instantly, the waters turned to blood. Fish floated dead on the surface, and the river reeked with the stench of death. The people could find no clean water to drink. Horrified, Pharaoh summoned Elior.
Pray to your God to cleanse the water,
he pleaded,
and I will let your people go.
Elior prayed, and the river returned to its natural state. But Pharaoh, true to his hardened heart, broke his promise. He refused to let the Israelites go. The second plague, frogs. A great swarm of frogs invaded Egypt, leaping into homes, beds, ovens, and kneading bowls. The nation was overrun. Again, Pharaoh pleaded with Elior to intercede, and again, Elior prayed. The frogs died, but Pharaoh's heart grew harder still. The third plague, gnats. Dust rose from the ground, swirling into clouds of gnats that covered people and animals alike. The magicians of Egypt could not replicate this plague and told Pharaoh, "This is the finger of God." Yet Pharaoh remained stubborn. The fourth plague, flies. Swarms of flies descended, filling houses and corrupting the land. However, in the land of Goshen, where the Israelites lived, there were no flies. It was a clear sign, a separation between God's people and Egypt. Pharaoh wavered, but once the flies disappeared, he hardened his heart again. The fifth plague, death of livestock. Disease struck the Egyptians' cattle, horses, donkeys, camels, sheep, and goats, wiping them out. Still, not a single animal among the Israelites died. Even faced with such loss, Pharaoh's pride held firm. The sixth plague, boils. Painful boils erupted on the skin of every Egyptian and their animals. The magicians, once so confident, could not even stand before Elior because of their sores. Yet Pharaoh's defiance only grew. The seventh plague, hail. Elior warned Pharaoh. A devastating hailstorm was coming. When Pharaoh ignored him, thunder roared and hailstones rained down with fire, destroying crops and killing livestock left in the fields. Only Goshen remained untouched. Pharaoh, shaken, admitted,
I have sinned. Pray to your God to stop this, and I will let you go.
Elior prayed. The storm ceased, but Pharaoh broke his word once more. The eighth plague, locusts. Locusts swept across Egypt, devouring every green thing the hail had spared. Desperation filled the land. Pharaoh begged again.
I have sinned against your God and you. Forgive me and pray.
Elior did, and when the locusts were gone, Pharaoh's heart hardened yet again. The ninth plague, darkness. For 3 terrifying days, a thick, oppressive darkness covered Egypt. No one could see, no one could move. It was a darkness that could be felt. Yet in Goshen, there was light. This time, Pharaoh's resolve cracked.
Go, he said, but leave your flocks behind.
Elior replied.
We must take everything.
Pharaoh's anger flared.
Leave my presence. The next time you see my face, you will die.
Elior answered,
You have spoken rightly. I will not see your face again.
The 10th plague, death of the firstborn. A final, dreadful plague was coming. Elior warned the Israelites to prepare to sacrifice a lamb, mark their doorposts with its blood, and stay inside. That night, the angel of death swept through Egypt. Every Egyptian household from the palace to the humblest hut was struck by grief as their firstborn sons died. Only the homes marked by the lamb's blood were spared. The wails of sorrow rose into the night. In agony, Pharaoh summoned Elior and Micah.
Go,
he cried.
Leave Egypt, take your people, your flocks, everything, and bless me also.
The Israelites, finally free, gathered their belongings and left in haste. They journeyed toward the Red Sea, their hearts full of hope and wonder, but their ordeal was not yet over. The Red Sea miracle. Pharaoh's grief twisted into rage once again. He rallied his army and pursued the Israelites, trapping them between his forces and the waters of the Red Sea. The people panicked. "Why did you bring us out here to die?" they cried to Elior. But Elior stood firm.
Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord.
At God's command, Elior stretched out his staff over the sea. A mighty wind blew all night, parting the waters and revealing a path of dry ground between walls of water. The Israelites crossed safely. The Egyptian army followed, but once Elior and his people reached the far shore, he raised his staff again. The sea roared back into place, drowning Pharaoh's chariots and soldiers. The Israelites stood on the far shore, free at last. They sang songs of praise, their voices rising into the dawn. Elior's sister, Miriam, led the women in dance with tambourines, singing,
"Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea."
Tears streamed down their faces as they realized they were no longer slaves. They were a people with a future, bound together not by chains but by faith. A story remembered. The story of Elior and the 10 plagues is more than a tale of miracles and disasters. It is a story of faith that endured hardship, of a people who found freedom through struggle, and of a promise kept by a faithful God. Even in the darkest night, when all hope seems lost, deliverance may be just beyond the horizon. All it takes is a spark of faith and the courage to follow where it leads. And so, from generation to generation, the story of Elior lives on, reminding us that freedom, once won, must be cherished, and that with faith, even the impossible can come to pass. Whenever we face hardships, we remember, no matter how fierce the oppressor, no matter how dark the night, there is always hope. There is always a way forward if we dare to believe.